Mr. Okabe, if I can just say that our community recognizes the losses that you and your country have endured, and that we are all here today because we stand beside you and with you as you go forward, and our commitment will never waver. There is a connection between us, Kizuna.
Thank you very much. Konbanwa. 1 year has passed since an unprecedented disaster befell Tohoku, Japan. Until today, more than 15,000 people are confirmed dead, and another 3,000 and more people are still missing. It was really a tragedy. People lost their home, lost their loved ones, they lost everything. However, through this tragedy, they knew that they were not alone. They knew that there were so many people in the world who were really caring about them. Now, in Tohoku, people are determined to recover from the disaster and recover from their sense of losses. But being in view of the magnitude of the disaster they had, it's not an easy task to fully recover. It will take years to fully recover from the disaster. Today, so many amazing artists gathered here to air their voices. We do not forget Tohoku, Japan. I wish to extend my utmost thanks to the artists, all the artists on stage. And I also wish to express my deepest thanks to the people on the floor who came here to support Japan. I believe it is people's goodwill which ultimately works miracle. I sincerely wish today's concert all the best, all the success. Thank you very much.
Now, please welcome to the stage Doug Smith. He is the chair-elect for the Japan American Society of Oregon and co-chair of today's concert. Doug? Thank you. I think that one's coming. You want this one? You certainly can.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, Consul General Okabe, for your heartfelt comments. Every time I see that video, it makes me cry. Because as much as each of us think we've done our part, none of us can imagine what the people in that video and throughout northern Japan experienced 1 year ago. None of us can imagine what they continue to endure today in trying to rebuild their lives and restore their spirit. I promise my comments will be short tonight, definitely shorter than the quake, which shook the earth for more than 6 minutes. Some of our audience members here tonight were actually in Japan at the time of the quake. They experienced firsthand the fear, the uncertainty of whether they were safe, whether their loved ones were safe. Thankfully, they are here tonight to join us in this special remembrance, this tribute, this community outpouring to inspire hope and to rededicate ourselves to supporting the recovery of a wonderful people, our dear friends in Japan. As the disaster was unfolding in front of our eyes on live TV, several of us here in Portland were already calling and emailing each other saying we had to do something as a community. Over that weekend after the disaster, we formed the Oregon Japan Relief Fund and designated Mercy Corps here in Portland as the recipient of our donations, of your donations. Through many efforts, including a concert here at this stage last March, More than $600,000 was donated to Mercy Corps. And through the vision and leadership of Sho and Loan Dozono and their family, a flight of friendship to Tohoku was organized. 88 of us went to Tohoku last spring and engaged in volunteer activities in communities along the Tohoku coastline, from Minami Soma to Ishinomaki, Kesenuma to Rikuzen Takata. Many of my Flight of Friendship brethren are here this evening, and I thank you all for joining. But it wasn't just the Flight of Friendship and the Oregon Japan Relief Fund. There are so many others in this community that did so much for the people of Tohoku. Yuyaki Shimbun, Jim Hills and Keiko Honda, Junki Yoshida, local church communities, individual citizens, my good friend Timothy Reimer and his brother and teammates, they were in Tohoku within 3 weeks, completely on their own. And Shokokai, the Japan Business Association of Portland, has been so supportive of not only the Oregon Japan Relief Fund, but even this morning they held a fundraising bazaar and raised over $10,000 despite wind and cold and rain. So tonight I thank you for joining us as chair-elect of the Japan-America Society to support JAZO's Oregon Tomodachi Recovery Fund. We have two objectives for this fund. One is concrete, on-the-ground recovery efforts in communities of Tohoku, and the second is public awareness here at home about disaster preparedness. Recovery in Tohoku will be targeted at selected communities, such as Minami Soma, which is Pendleton's sister city, and where one of our alumni from the Flight of Friendship, Kate Oberg, has volunteered to spend a year, perhaps more, in Minami Soma, teaching English and volunteering almost daily to deliver supplies. We will also contribute to communities like Ishinomaki, where the JET teacher in this video lost her life. I was on the very first year of the JET, and so if we could all do something good in memory of the JET teachers who lost their lives, I personally would be most gratified. And here in the Northwest, we will reinforce the message that preparedness and planning works. Mercy Corps continues to lead that effort. Let me remind you, seismic historians at Oregon State have mapped extensively the seafloor off the coast of Oregon and Washington, determining that over the last 10,000 years, a magnitude 8 or greater quake, followed by a tsunami, occurs on average every 360 years. The last big quake was in the year 1700. We're 312 years into a cycle that has occurred every 360 years. Science tells us that in most of our lifetimes, Oregon will experience precisely what hit Tohoku last March 11th. As residents of the Pacific Northwest, let's do our part now for our friends and neighbors in Japan, and let's prepare ourselves so that we are worthy of the love and courage, the ai, toyuki, that will get us through our challenging times ahead. Thank you all so much for being here tonight.